Welcome to our session today, and I have a lovely yin practice for you today, which is really going to focus on opening up the chest and having a nice stretch slash relax. So make it a nice little session for yourself. I love to light candles when I'm doing yin yoga. It's a nice opportunity for you actually just to smell the lovely candles. Sometimes I light candles and then 3 hours later I forgot I've lit them. So equipment for today, if you have yoga bricks, great. If you don't, you can also use cushions and pillows, anything like that. Yeah, very simple today. So let's get started. So we're going to start with a supported fish pose, and that really opens up this part of the body. So if you think when you're sitting a lot or driving, maybe you're online, texting and stuff, we can be very closed in this area, very closed off. So this is all about opening it up. And if you're into chakras and all of that, we're going to be working a little bit with the throat chakra, helping to open and clear that. Right, so this position can be quite intense for some people to have the block this high. So you can actually turn it around as well. And then depending on which way you have the block, that will dictate what we're going to do with that block. But if you haven't got yoga blocks, you can take a big towel or a cushion and you can just roll the cushion so that it's into like a little round shape, and you'll put that between your shoulder blades. Okay, so that's the position. It's just above the bra strap and directly in between the shoulder blades is what we're after. So as I have bricks, I'm going to use that. So to get into this position, it can be a little bit awkward. You'll take the brick, and whether you have it flat or high, you're going to put it round about where your bra strap is, somewhere in that region, and then you'll come down onto your elbows, and then you need to have a little play with this because it does take a little bit of fidgeting to get it into the right place. And then once you're on there, you'll take the block. Like I said, it's a bit awkward this getting into this one. You can start with the block quite high, see how that feels in your neck. And if you want to take it one step further, you can turn the block just so that the head is a little bit more upside down. Okay, so you have that option as well. Like I said, if that is too high, you're just going to put the block low. And it's just going to be less intense. Like I said, this one is quite intense. So if you have any upper back issues, if you're very stiff, then go for the smaller option. Okay. So when you're on your block or your cushion, whatever you're using, it wants to be uncomfortable, but it wants to feel right. So, sometimes like in between the shoulders, it feels quite right there. It doesn't want to be any lower than that because you're going to start getting into your kidneys. And that will feel horrible and it will feel wrong. Okay, so if you're lying there thinking, oh, this is just horrible, then just try and move the block a little bit up. Likewise, the block doesn't want to be so high that it's on your neck. So the shoulder block for me ends just below the neck and it runs down the spine towards the bra strap area. So that's the kind of position that we were looking for. And then, like I said, if you've got nothing wrong with your neck, you can take the block a bit lower so that we're stretching this more. Or like some days my neck doesn't really like it, and you can put the block a bit higher, which is probably what I'm going to do today. Now, traditionally the palms are taught with the hands down. However, in my opinion, we are already internally rotated. So what that means is our hands are facing towards the floor. So if you think of driving, computer work, anything like that, our hands are already in that shape. So to me, we actually want to do the opposite, which is open up the hands so that we can really stretch out the front of the chest. So as you go through your aging process, years and years and years of sitting on the computer, we can get quite tight in this area, and that will affect our posture. So now we want to try and do the opposite to counter whatever we want to do. We want to open that up. So I'm going to have the hands, palms facing up. Now, in terms of the legs, the fish is taught with the legs straight. So see how that feels. If you think that is too intense for you, you can always have the legs bent and maybe just bring the knees in together so you can relax into your hips there. Or if you want to get something out of it, you can take your legs into butterfly, but just stack some pillows underneath your legs so that they're not up in the air and these hips are active. We want to relax the hips, so you can just relax the legs there. So pick leg position. You might find as you get halfway through that you want to change it, and that's perfectly fine. Okay, so I'm just going to give you a minute or so just to get yourself into position. I appreciate it's not the easiest position to get into. And then once you get into this position, relax. This is your time. You don't need to go anywhere. You can soften your eyelids down if you want to. So rather than thinking of forcing your eyes closed, just let them soften. Just let gravity draw them down towards your eyeballs. Relax your shoulders so that your collarbones start to lengthen out to the side, almost like the corners of the collarbones want to touch the floor. So we want to have this big chest opening. Okay. Take note if you're biting on your jaw, so clenching the jaw. That will often contract muscles around your neck, your tongue and your lips. So when you bite, when you release the jaw, so think of creating a bit of space between your back teeth, that will actually just to help soften all those muscles and let go. And then just do a very quick scan from the top of your head to your shoulders, make sure they're relaxed. And then down to your hips and your back. And I often find for myself, I tend to hold on to this area. So I've got to really be aware of this so that I can just relax. Otherwise, I can feel my hips locking, like my bums are engaging. So every now and again, I'll just check, am I nice and relaxed? And then release right down to your tippy toes. I'm just taking a lovely full inhale. And then open your mouth and just let it go. Something very releasing about a nice big sigh. We'll do one more inhale. And then just coming to this place of complete stillness. So the only time we really want to move in the yin practice is when we are adjusting our body to go a tiny little bit deeper. But bearing in mind it is yin, we're not after this intense sensation or this intense stretch. It really wants to be this gentle effort, this very subtle sensation, so that we can really work with the connective tissues. As soon as the muscles start to get too involved, then we move where the area that we want to work into. And just start to observe your breath. You don't need to change it. Just, monitor your breath. As you inhale, are you breathing in through your nose or your mouth? Is the rib cage expanding and stopping there? Or is your belly expanding? So as I say, you don't need to change it. I just want you to notice. So often those that have stressful jobs or they can be quite anxious, they tend to just breathe up to the ribs. They don't breathe any deeper. So now what I want you to do, and you can put your hands on your belly if you want to, or you can leave your hands to the side, is just start to take this breath in through your nose. Expand your rib cage. And then try and send the air deep into your belly. And then as you exhale, let the belly drop. Let the rib cage drop. The collarbones, and then exhale through the nose. So breathing in through the nose, the collarbones lift, rib cage expands, and belly lifts. Just a gentle pause at the end of your inhale. And as you exhale, tummy drops, rib cage gets smaller, collarbones settle, and exhale, nose. So as we come into a few minutes of silence, just follow that breath. If your mind wanders, then just draw it back to the observation of your breath. I'm just going to stay here for a few more breaths. And after your next exhale, just let your breath return back to normal. And blinking your eyes open. So we're not going to rush out of this. I know it's not very comfortable. Often injuries are caused when we come out of poses. So we just want to take our time. There's no rush. So you can, I like to use my hands to lift my head. I always think my head's too heavy for my neck. And then pop your elbows underneath and just, gently, gently come up. Like I said, that is very intense. So just coming into a seated position. So whether you want to have your legs like this or cross, we're not going to be here very long. I just want you to stretch off your back. So just round into it, whether you want to have your legs like that. Any position where we're just leaning forward a little bit, just to release that upper back. So the next position we're going to come into is called reclined butterfly, and it's a very similar position, but it's a lot more nicer. So I'm actually going to use the blocks, but I'm going to put the cushion on top of the blocks. Now there's different ways you can do this. You can have the cushion more up, or you can have the cushion flat. So if you wanted the cushion more up, these blocks are actually quite big. You just stack books a little bit higher on the end for yourself, okay? So like your pillows that you sleep on, they are quite long, so they're quite good for this. And then also if you feel like you need to get a bit of height, either stack a few pillows or a few books on top, and then you can put your pillows on the top there. So, which is probably what I'm going to do. Let's see how that goes. So with the fish, it was only the top half of the body that we were opening up. Now we're going to put the bum here, and we want to try and put the whole spine on there. So for some people, the head might roll back off of there. You can either let it stay there, or if you find that it's too much on the neck, then just shimmy your bum down a little bit. So let's see. Haven't done it with this cushion before. There we go. So you can just let the head hang back like that. Or if you want to, you can pop another block. And then for me, I might just move it up a little bit just so my head's not hanging too much. So with the legs, we want to have, so if you have your knees hip width apart, start to bring the soles of your feet together. Now, ideally, I've got quite long adductors, so my knees can be there and this is pretty relaxed. But if you find your legs are up here, put cushions or blocks there so that the bones can actually relax on the block. And then what that does is it helps to release these muscles that can be very active. So unless your legs can flump out like that, have support there. So don't think that if you have support, it means you're not good. It's completely... using blocks is completely, it doesn't mean you're good or bad. It's to help the bones and the muscles to release completely so that your connective tissues can have a stretch. So coming into reclined butterfly pose. If I start to snore, you know I've fallen asleep. Of one of my favorite poses. Now with your arms, having the arms out into a T position. So again, we're working into this top half of the body. I find often, especially when I am shooting a lot of videos and all that stuff, I get lots of neck and shoulder pain, and I know my posture does need a bit of work again. I spent hours on the computer. So this is a fantastic and passive way just to do something nice for that top part of your body. And you can come back to that breath again. So we have this point where we can feel a little bit of sensation in the legs, perhaps across the front of the chest. It's not painful, it's a little bit uncomfortable. We want to remain as still as we can. So the only time you might want to go a little deeper or you want to move is when you want to go deeper. So perhaps taking the arms a bit further, or if you have got blocks under your legs, just moving them slightly. And then of course, one of the principles of Yin is time. So we'll be staying here for a few minutes. So just allow your body to settle into it. Just enjoy this. It can be quite a challenge to keep the mind focused in a Yin practice, especially when the poses are a little bit more, I won't say easy, but simpler. So if the mind does start to wander, come back to your breath. I often like to use counting. So I'll take a breath in for 4 counts, and I'll exhale for 6 counts. You might find as your body relaxes and your heart rate slows down, you might be able to increase the length of your breath because the body doesn't need all the oxygen, so it can really slow down. It really doesn't matter the numbers. What you are trying to do is have a longer exhale. That helps to stimulate that rest and digest nervous system. Helps you release cortisol in the body, or get rid of the cortisol. And then on your next exhale, softening your eyes open again. So taking your hand to the outside of your legs and just help your legs up nice and gently. And then again, I like to just take the hands to the back of my head just to help me up. And then bringing yourself onto your elbows and then bring. So you should feel nice and open and stretched across this area. Sometimes when we stop and we stretch, like I can feel it quite a lot on this side, you realize actually how tight you are. So I hope you found that useful today and you enjoyed that little bit of passive relaxation. I like Yin Yoga because you're doing something good and you're having a relax at the same time. So take care and I'll see you again soon.